Hola, hola, hey. Hola, hola, hey.
Weren't dead, and I've been hollering ever since. And he is today still hollering, and even though he's no longer here, the Gordon Parks Foundation, which was established in 2006 upon his death to preserve and protect his legacy of work, is hard at work today. Me with my team, Diana Revson, who's here, and everyone from the Macy's team, who has been so incredible to work with. It's been an honor. But Gordon, as I began to say, was a close family friend of my family's, and my grandfather was the managing editor of Life magazine throughout the 60s and the 70s, and actually worked with Gordon on some of his first assignments for the magazine. And Gordon and my grandfather became fast, long friends, and would come out to my grandparents' house most weekends and see them. Growing up, to me, he was known as Uncle Gordon, and so being able to run his foundation and to work with his photography and his music and his films on a daily basis brings great joy to me and to my family to be able to preserve and protect his legacy. So the Gordon Parks Foundation not only takes care of his photography, but it also gives out grants in his memory to students studying photography, film, and music at different institutions each year. So this partnership with Macy's was great so that we could learn much more about the people who care about Gordon Parks. We could meet with all of you today, and we could continue to share his legacy. So thank you all so much for coming, and I now turn this over to back to Bill.
Hola, hola, hey. Hola, hola, hey. Hola, hola, hey.
Established the city of Washington, D.C. Put that out there, but you just have to know your history. And I find that people do not have a sense of our people, and majority people as well, of who they are, where they come from. So how does his relevance impact that next generation of young actors? Because so much, I'll never forget posing the question to a very prominent African-American director at a time when the question was, would Black Hollywood be able to move beyond what he called the racism of Hollywood? And sort of do what the DreamWorks model, and penetrate in a way where we pool our money, we pool our resources, and we move beyond what is. And my question is, where do we see ourselves in Black cinema, theater, television, through his legacy? Because it was all about pushing forward and pushing those boundaries.
Well, I mean, for the most part, you know, someone like, not even someone like Gordon Parks inspires me. There are so many things that I love to do besides just act, and there's so many things that I'm capable of besides just acting. And, you know, I have many other gifts, but the industry and the world sort of tries to paint you into a corner and just label you as, you know, you're the performer, you just perform. And so someone like, Gordon Parks reminds me that, no, I'm a storyteller. And there are many ways in which I can tell a story. And that's one of the things I love about today. There are so many mediums that are available, so many platforms available to this generation for us to tell stories. I think the one thing that we have to keep in mind is that we somehow have to focus those stories, because, you know, a lot of the media, the mediums, the platforms are brand new, and it's almost like you know, make the analogy of being at the Funhouse in Coney Island, and you see that place where there are all these mirrors, and you know, you're kind of like making all these faces, and like you're looking at yourself because it's brand new to you. That's what I feel like these new platforms are in entertainment these days, and people are just kind of out there, you know, trying new things and not realizing that it's all being recorded. It's all being written down, right? It's all being recorded. So that's what I think, one of the things that I would like to speak to, not me personally, but one of the issues that I would like to speak to concerning this next generation with regards to entertainment and how we can come together and sort of, use those platforms, just in a more efficient way.
More efficient.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what you mean, just being able to...
I feel like we're wasting a lot of our time. We're wasting a lot of our talent. We're wasting, we're not using, I don't think we're using the platforms to their fullest potential because they're so new to us. And again, we're kind of in the funhouse going, oh, how does this work?
But oftentimes, Melinda, I oftentimes feel like black people are new to black people.
What do you mean by that?
I don't think that our, I think that, maybe Malik and Kenny, because, say it, man.
Man, you set us up, man. You say something incendiary, like black people are new to black people. Clarify that statement, black man, of the lighter complexion.
My brother.
No, but if I help you, toss it, I'll say.
You ain't gonna toss it. The problem is, we're behind an 8 ball a lot because we're still searching for who we are. And the DreamWorks of sorts, it is a conglomerate of people that have tended on a general consensus or a general thought, have tended to not necessarily lose who they were. They didn't just literally maintain the Star of David, they figuratively maintained their Star of David. And they went to Tinseltown and tried to become whatever star God would have them become. We, on the other hand, are often of a race where we are still in more of a race to figure out who we are. So the stage or the platform that Melinda appropriately wants the younger or challenging the younger generation to be better situated, for lack of a better word, on, is oftentimes a very shaky stage because we kind of don't know what we got, but we're uberly talented.
For teenagers.
So the play on American Gothic, that Grant Wood picture that so many people are familiar with, of the farmer and his daughter in front of a house, and he played on that with the woman with the mop. Do you remember that picture?
Yeah. I mean, for me, that's what when I was watching Learning Tree, I didn't know it was Gordon Parks. And then flash forward, and that photograph, that iconic photograph, I was like, wow. And I grew up poor in Tallahassee, Florida. So that was like, that's my people. My grandmother had 13 children, and she went to work for white folks every day, and she didn't get Social Security. And it's like, I looked at that and flash forward that to today when you're doing Broadway shows, and to get an opportunity to do A Raisin in the Sun
on Broadway.
On Broadway, and then we did Fences last year with Denzel. But the idea was that those guys, August Wilson, Gordon Parks, those people made it possible for us to do what we're doing, and we absolutely stand on their shoulders. So every day, I thank God for all those African American men and women and artists that made it possible. Because my grandmother didn't even know that you could have a career as a director. She saw her first play a year before she died. But I was a product of generational prayer. She prayed all the time that her grandchildren would have a better life than she had. So Gordon, he represents all of that, and no matter what we do, when I cast a Broadway show, I hire a designer. So those designers are looking through eyes that, that Gordon made me know was possible. He made it possible for me to do that. And Shaft, Shaft was like, Shaft was a hero for me because he proved that he can break the rules, and you don't have to accept, the past and all that stuff. Okay, I'm rambling, but
no, not at all.
It all runs together, but there are a generation of men that we are absolutely indebted to.
By the time I was not born yet.
Come on.
It's a Black History Month. Learn your lessons. I was not born yet. No, but he, being the first director of a studio picture in the 60s, that's pretty revolutionary. But the reality is, we could go down the list in 2013, and I don't know too many black directors that are directing studio pictures today. So, but to your point, I think, yes, we have available mediums like this one, our mini iPad. We've got 5D cameras, we've got digital technology, we've got YouTube. We have empowering tools to tell our stories through Instagram, through Twitter. You know, that's media that has transformed, you know, entertainment. And I think that at the end of the day, we can be on these panels all the time, but if each individual doesn't believe that it is their birthright to be great, that it's their birthright to tap into their genius, and to be determined on a daily basis that that's what I'm going to do. So we write, we direct, we produce. I mean, all of us up here, right? You know, we teach, you know. And Kenny and I were talking about this backstage, the importance of, we're of a generation that has to take, with a friend of mine who hooked me up with a couple of meetings with some of the 2 presidents that run USA. Because there's a tremendous desire for New York Undercover as a series to come back, right? And this is what I tell them. So I had this meeting with them. I'm meeting with Chris McCumber at USA, and I say, Chris, I want to be an executive. He says, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know exactly what the job is, but y'all need me. Because at the end of our meeting, 2 women of color, 2 Latinas, come up and ask me about New York Undercover, and we heard it's coming back. He thought he was being punked, like I've tricked him. Like, I'm like, no, these 2 women saw us sitting here, and they came over to ask, and I introduced them to him. I said, this is the president of USA. Tell him what you want. So we explored that, and they were open to the idea because they understand that they can make some money. But beyond that, it hit me last week. I said, you know what I want to do? I want to meet with the head of diversity. And what I want to do is not just go in there and complain, but part of, you talk about many gifts that we have, well, I'm a teacher. That's my first job, right? I want to go and work with you, and I have a meeting on the 27th of this month, and I'll tweet about it and tell you how it went, to talk about how working in this system as an actor for 20 years, I can go and affect change through a system that they have now set up to make sure that our voices can be heard. Because a lot of times, I don't even think it's racism overtly. I just think that when you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you look at your family, that's kind of what you resonate with. And when these executives write these TV shows and they make these movies, they're not really thinking, let's just exclude everybody. They're thinking about what is the thing
that makes sense to them.
The same way if you're a woman and you walk in a room full of men, you see that one other woman, most likely you're going to gravitate toward that one other woman. And I think that part of our responsibility is, like Gordon, is just to make people aware. You can't change the game unless you're in it. And you can't just keep complaining, talking about what we don't have. You just have to be proactive.
If you contact the foundation, that's probably the best way, which the Gordon Parks Foundation website.
Do you have a card?
I do have a card.
You
gonna read it?
I'll take it to him. That's how we do it.
Young man with the parka on.
There you go.
The mic up to the young man.
He handed his card.
Lee, can you hand the mic?
Thank you very much.
What you need? Come on, I feel like Oprah. How you doing? He got a new shirt on. How you doing?
Lee, stay back there. You're good.
Yeah, I just wanted to know when are you going to do that?
The question was, what am I doing by audition at this school? You can't have a job. Get used to rejection. You want to be an actor? Not in my movies. Get out of here. No, I'm kidding. Do you follow me on Twitter? Then I'll announce next time we have auditions. Okay?
Here I am. It's the only thing you should know, that I'm here.